The fire is almost gone. Only a thin ribbon of orange remains beneath collapsing charcoal, breathing faintly each time the wind reaches into the shelter. Around it, faces emerge for an instant, before disappearing again into darkness. No one speaks. Every pair of eyes is fixed on the same fragile glow, because everyone understands the same unspoken truth. If the fire dies before dawn, someone may not see another sunrise. Most people think fire was simply a source of warmth. It became something far more profound than that. It was the first place where humans learned to push back against an environment that had never intended to make room for them. In a world where the night belonged to predators and the cold stripped heat from flesh without emotion, a controlled flame created something almost impossible in nature: a boundary. Inside its circle, darkness hesitated. Outside it, the Ice Age continued exactly as before. Researchers have found ancient hearths preserved beneath layers of sediment across Europe, Asia, and the Near East. Some were rebuilt in precisely the same locations again and again, generation after generation. The pattern suggests something unexpected. These were not temporary fires lit for convenience. They became fixed points around which memory itself was organized. People returned because they remembered, and because others had remembered before them. The fire did more than cook meat or thaw frozen hands. It stretched the human day beyond sunset. Hours that would once have belonged only to fear became available for something entirely different. Stone tools could be repaired. Children could watch experienced hunters shape spear points. Stories could be repeated until they settled into collective memory. Knowledge no longer had to disappear with the people who carried it. It could survive them. That may have been one of the greatest turning points in human history. Many animals learn. Few teach. The difference seems small until an environment begins changing faster than instinct can keep pace. During the Ice Age, experience became more valuable than strength, because every successful hunt, every dangerous mistake, every safe migration route represented information that another generation would desperately need. Survival stopped depending solely on evolution. It began depending on culture. Culture is often imagined as art, music, or language, but at its deepest level, culture is stored survival. It is everything one generation discovers that prevents the next from starting over. Every lesson shared around a fire was a victory against forgetting, and forgetting in the Ice Age could be fatal. Yet, warmth and memory alone could not feed a community. Eventually, someone had to step beyond the safety of the flames and walk into a landscape where failure waited with extraordinary patience. Imagine following the tracks of a mammoth. Each footprint is wider than a human chest and pressed deep into frozen earth by an animal weighing several tons. The trail stretches across open tundra where there is almost nowhere to hide. Every hunter understands the imbalance. One mistake could end not only a life, but the future of an entire family, depending on the outcome. This was never a contest of strength. Humans would lose that contest every time. A mammoth could outrun them over short distances. It possessed immense power, thick insulating fur, and tusks capable of lifting an adult into the air. Face to face, the result was almost predetermined. So our ancestors changed the rules instead. Evidence from archaeological sites suggests that Ice Age hunters relied on planning more than speed. They studied migration routes that repeated with the seasons. They learned where rivers narrowed, where steep valleys restricted movement, where snow concealed dangerous ground beneath its smooth surface. The hunt often began days before anyone raised a spear. Victory depended on decisions made long before the animal appeared. Researchers still debate exactly how different groups hunted such enormous prey. Some evidence points toward carefully coordinated ambushes. Other discoveries suggest repeated harassment over long distances, exhausting animals already burdened by deep snow and scarce food. Whatever the precise methods, one conclusion continues to emerge. No single person accomplished it alone. Every successful hunt required something remarkably fragile: trust. One hunter had to believe another would hold position. Someone had to predict the movement of frightened animals. Others had to remain calm even after plans began falling apart, because plans always did. Survival belonged not to the fearless. It belonged to those who could remain coordinated while afraid. That distinction echoes far beyond the Ice Age. Modern neuroscience suggests that cooperation under stress is one of humanity's defining strengths. Our brains are unusually capable of reading expressions, anticipating intentions, and adjusting behavior within groups. These abilities feel ordinary today because we use them constantly. But on a frozen plain 20,000 years ago, they were as valuable as any weapon ever shaped from stone. Perhaps even more valuable, because stone can break. Trust must be rebuilt every day. The archaeological record reveals another quiet mystery. Some Ice Age sites contain objects that served no obvious practical purpose. Carefully carved figurines, beads made from bone or ivory, shells carried hundreds of miles from distant coasts, pigments prepared with remarkable care. Most people assume decoration appears only after survival has been secured. The evidence suggests the opposite. Even while living on the edge of starvation, humans invested precious time and energy into symbols whose value could not be measured in calories. Why? Scientists still debate the answer. Perhaps these objects marked identity, strengthening bonds between strangers. Perhaps they carried spiritual meaning. Perhaps they reminded people that they belonged to something larger than a single winter. Whatever their purpose, they reveal an extraordinary truth. Our ancestors did not survive because they abandoned their humanity. They survived because they protected it. And as the glaciers continued their slow advance across the northern world, another challenge was waiting, one that no fire, no spear, and no mammoth hunt could solve alone. The cold was changing not just the land beneath their feet, it was beginning to reshape the human mind itself. Like and subscribe. See you in the next.